when we were, I went out with the bells, bring you back. I was wondering what would happen if I kept walking and ringing, like down the main street. What do you think would happen? Would someone stop me?
Hare Krishna in Tel-Aviv. No?
Oh yeah. I'll have to take this. This road. Yeah. Or maybe people wouldn't notice. Someone sent me a video, like people like to send videos, right? Of for some reason I watched this one. Some experiment that people did, tying dollar bills to a tree in the middle of a city, and each one said like, "Take me, I'm yours," or something, or it's a free gift, you know. And they weren't fake; they were real. And like 80% of the people walked by and didn't see it, like just did not see the money, a money tree, right? And the people who did started taking all of them. Yeah. But yeah, you can have something right in front of you and you just don't notice it. Happens a lot. What are we paying attention to? That's sometimes what I ask. Just like, where's your mind? You know, where is your mind right now? Usually somewhere else, isn't it?
Doing some more space.
Room. There's always room. Lots of room.
Changan po.
Thanks for the tea, whoever filled my cup. So, I was thinking of talking about Dukkha, which is a very known and loved word in Buddhism. And it actually is the basis of the whole path. If we fully try to understand and appreciate what the Buddha said, I teach one thing, and that's dukkha, the end of dukkha. So then we think, well, so this is kind of really what we need to look at. And you know, you can read all about dukkha. I mean, it's all there. You can, any book on Buddhism is going to talk about dukkha in different ways. As a concept, you might be able to understand it or misunderstand it. Especially if it's translated as suffering or sevil or whatever words, you know, get thrown around. Which basically is like talking about a human being and saying, you know, I don't know, one quality of the human being. Like if I were to talk about you as, I don't know what, just being male or just being female or just having blue eyes or brown eyes or, you know, dark hair or light hair. But I just focus on one quality. And it's true, like the suffering part of suffering, of dukkha, like the pain part, the suffering, is definitely, you know, a quality of dukkha. But, you know, when we extract that, then it's sort of like talking about a human being in one thing, one way, and saying this is you. It's limiting. And it actually does the person a disservice. So don't shortchange dukkha. It's bigger than you think. So let's consider it for a moment. I mean, what you'll read about if you read about dukkha is that it's caused, it has to do with attachment. But that's looking at it from a distance. The point of dukkha is to understand where and what we're holding on to. Let's just start with that. I mean, we're not learning about dukkha in order to, answer a question about dukkha. We're learning about dukkha in order to see how is it part of my life? Where am I holding on? How is dukkha, my reality? How is it part of my consciousness, my human consciousness? But let's try to see what it means. I came across a sort of translation and understanding of the word, the Pali word, of these two roots of it, ka and du. And ka has to do with an old wheel, and du means not placed. That was one translation of it. So it's like a wheel that's sort of unsteady, like a wheel that's not placed well. You imagine a wheel on an axle and it's just like whatever, it's not working well, or squeaky, or it's just not rolling well. And you may be able to roll along with it, but you're gonna feel, it's gonna feel like not so, you're gonna notice the difference. It's gonna be a bit uncomfortable, or it may cause you to worry. I remember once, actually, I just thought of this now. I was doing this retreat on at this monastery in upstate New York, and I got to drive back to New York, where I was like flying back right after the retreat. So the time was of the essence, let's say, and we were driving back, and it was 2.5 hours outside, and we heard some sound. It was like a sound, right? What was this sound? And we were driving. An hour goes by. And she said, I think it's the wheel. Now, we didn't feel any physical discomfort, but when you hear a wheel making a different sound in a car and you're traveling like 120, then at some point, then another few minutes go by. I said, well, I'm trying to decide maybe if I should stop or not, right? I'm, thinking, okay, what are the chances of the wheel? It sounded like maybe it was, I don't know, not on the axle properly, or whatever it is on, right? What if the wheel comes off? What if it just comes off? I felt like this unsteady wheel. And even though it wasn't causing me any, just the idea of it started to turn into this huge source of anxiety. Not only may I not make it to the airport, I might not get out of this car. And I was thinking, we're going really fast. Do we really want to lose a wheel now? And how much should I tell her, stop? Stop, Or is it not right place? So all this thought, that was so much dukkha of just in my mind. And actually the situation was, there was a sound. There was a sound, right? And then the sound created so much, so much around that sound. Now perhaps it was all correct, because in the end she did pull over and say, what, called the tow truck. Tow truck, then drove to the city and basically made the plane by 2 minutes. Okay, but to get there involved a lot of stress. Okay, stress. I actually thought I was going to die. Just let me put it simply. And it wasn't a pleasant death. So, all of that's just, I brought back to mind when this root of the word, dukkha, being a wheel is not placed properly, it's wrongly placed. And it might just be a slight, I ride my bike all the time, it might just be it's off center. So what's it doing? It's slowing me down because it's rubbing against the brake and it's just not smooth. Okay, so I start to feel it. I'm not traveling well enough. Or it might be life-threatening, okay? Or it might just be like some friction somewhere else, like in my mind. All of those are suggesting that something is off. And it starts as a little sound. You know, a little hint that something is off. And then it starts to build until it becomes like life and death. Right? But it all comes from a sense of something is not quite right here. Right? And that is that sense of, you know, dukkha. And the thing is, it's always not right. That's the point. Is that to be in a changing world is always going to face conditions that are somewhat off. Conditions that are off, because as soon as you fix them to the way you think they're okay, they shift. You know, like when you stand on the sand and you're like, yeah, I know, like, and the current, the undertow pulls the sand from under your feet. It's like I was stable, and then things changed, and suddenly it's unstable again. Okay, the wheel has shifted, the balance is off, right? And that's the dukkha of just changing conditions. That no matter what, it doesn't mean that I'm suffering. No, it means that we're always out of balance. That the world is off kilter, we say, right? The conditions of life just are always sort of in flux and not according to our expectations, for sure. What happened yesterday to me? I mean, you can come up with so many examples how things just go off, you know? And it doesn't matter how much you prepare. Something's going to happen, right? Yesterday, I was getting in the car, early morning, got to get my kid to his carpool. Everything's going smoothly, all fine. Okay, get him out, great, it's all good. Go back, car started, go back. Dead. What happened? It was like 2 minutes. Turning off the car, dropping him off, coming back, turning it on, no response. What happened? I have no idea, right? But the car was dead. Battery was dead in the span of 2 minutes. Of course, you know, is the karma building up for a long time? It's an old battery and everything. What had happened at that moment? I don't know. But the point is, I call the tow truck, Shabrir, right? What do they say to me? I love these people. If you stay in the car, we'll be there in 3 hours. If you leave the car, it'll be 4. Like, Well, you know what? 4. Take 4. Do I really want to spend 3 hours meditating in the car? No, I don't. Okay? There's like suffering of suffering, and that would add to it, for sure. But of course it died on a red and white line, right? So then there's like added dukkha of the impending ticket. So in my excellent Hebrew I wrote, please, you know, don't give me a ticket. He listened, or maybe he just didn't show up. So then, lo and behold, 5.5 hours later, they show up. And he's the nicest guy in the world. Habibi, whatever. He's like so nice, my best friend. He's like, yeah, your battery's dead. Okay, thanks. My morning was shot. Lots I wanted to do. I was just hanging around, waiting for the tow truck. Okay? The wheel was off. Right? The wheel was simply off. It was unsteady. It was not well placed during that situation. Not that I didn't place it well. I mean, I had no idea. Maybe there is a battery light. I didn't see it. But I had no indication this was going to happen. It happened because there were lots of conditions outside of my control. In fact, most of them, if not all of them. Right? And the fact that I think I can control them so that the wheel will be steady is denying the fact of change. Okay? And so it's not that change is dukkha. Okay? The Buddha taught 3 aspects of dukkha, the way dukkha gets expressed in the world. But that's not the dukkha itself. That's an expression. Right? Let's say he talked about the dukkha of change, right? That's a real good one. You know, obviously, change happens. Get old, get sick, okay? You know, conditions change all the time, right? Is that dukkha in itself? No, it's not. What is the dukkha? The dukkha is, where am I resisting the change? That's the dukkha, okay? The world, the universe is dukkha free, right? Where's the dukkha in the universe? The dukkha is all about human consciousness, right? It's not the government's fault, right? And it's not my fault, okay? It's everything is happening and it's not in my, you know, control. Right? Things happen, things change, right? The wheel is always going to be unsteady. But there's another wheel, and it's called the wheel of Dharma, right? And that wheel is steady. Okay, that wheel is steady if you make sure all the spokes are strong. The 8 spokes, which the eightfold path. I've already skipped to the 4th noble truth, which is the path. But I just wanted to give you a, you know, preview, right? So there's an alternative wheel. The alternative wheel is the wheel of Dharma, which is composed of the eightfold path. Those spokes are secure, but they're only as secure as you secure them. They're not like something floating in space. It's the wheel that you make. There's the wheel of life, of samsara. Samsara, the wheel of life, is unsteady. That is dukkha. Okay, samsara is dukkha, because it's an unsteady wheel. Does it mean you're always going to walk around and be stung by bees? No. It's not always just, that's the other form of dukkha. Okay, the first type of dukkha the Buddha taught was just the basic physical mental dukkha. The facts of, you know, hey, you're sick 2 days ago. Dukkha? Okay, there you go. Like the body suffers, it feels pain, experiences pain all the time. You stub your toe, painful. Okay, yeah, you do get stung by a bee. You eat bad food, get sick. It happens all the time. It is unpreventable. Okay, physical dukkha.
During the retreat, I observed that there was always something. Either I was thirsty, or I was hungry again, or I had to go to the bathroom again, or I had pain again, I had to shit, or something was not. Like, this is never ending. And it reminded me of the game I used to play as a kid, The Sims, where you had to keep your sim very happy by fulfilling his basic needs of socializing and hygiene, cooking, feeding. And it took me always a whole day to get all the bars green, and then it was time to sleep, so he was sleeping, and the whole day it repeated itself. And he was unemployed, so which means that I had a lot of time to keep him happy all the time. I'm like, Jesus, I'm like a sim. I have to maintain this body all the time, the whole day.
Wow, is that a real game?
Yes.
What is that? I thought you were making it up. This sounds so perfect. What is it?
The Sims.
What is it? No, is it like a board game?
No, it was a computer game.
Oh, see how old I am?
Yeah.
Board game. I like what? It's a computer game. Is it still available?
It's free by now.
It's like on Atari or something. Yeah, great. Nice. There you go. Yeah, so that we can't stop that. That is unstoppable. It's unpreventable. And the Buddha taught about it as aging and sickness and health and death. How did he write it? He said, noble truth of suffering, dukkha monks, is this. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering. Again, this is the old translation. Just think dukkha. Okay? Dukkha is this. Birth is dukkha, aging is dukkha, sickness is dukkha. Death is dukkha, association with the unpleasant is dukkha. Okay? That's real simple to understand. Right? You're walking down the street, people are honking their horns. Unpleasant. Okay? Just unpleasant. Right? That's dukkha. Disassociation from the pleasant, meaning being taken away from the pleasant, That's dukkha, you know? It's so nice, and then it changes. What happened? You know? Like I'm in this nice car ride, and then all of a sudden, wheel. Right? Literally. What happened? Okay? Suddenly my pleasant ride has ended. Whatever the pleasant ride is that you're on. Okay? It will end. Okay? Disassociation. Meaning, being separated from the pleasant is dukkha. Right? Not to receive what one wants is dukkha. In brief, the 5 aggregates are subject to grasping is dukkha. Okay, I won't go into the 5 aggregates right now, which are like having a body, having, you know, sensations, and having ideas from those sensations, having...
He says that life itself is dukkha, כאילו?
The life that leads
everything.
to grasping is dukkha.
Okay.
Grasping is dukkha. That's what it is. You see, it's a real misexpression to say life is suffering, right? What does that do? And that's how I first learned the Dharma, you know. I first learned it by hearing a lecture saying, you know, life is suffering. And if you're like in a depressed kind of place, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, of course. I agreed with it completely. But it's not that life is suffering, right? That's not it. That's not it. It's that a human consciousness that is always desiring and grasping, okay, and always wanting something else, takes the raw materials of life, okay, the ingredients of world, and experiences it as dukkha. Dukkha is the human experience of life. That's what dukkha is. Okay? It's the basis of human consciousness that always is wanting. Right? That is our sense of, you know, whether I am like separated from what's pleasant. Okay? That's why the dukkha, the Buddha, the Dukkha King, the Buddha said, love is suffering too. Love is dukkha. Love is dukkha. It doesn't mean your experience of love in that time is dukkha. But love involves often, when it's coming from a place of selfhood, so much interwoven, so many negative feelings like fear or anxiety or, you know, judgment and you know, jealousy, like, is it gonna, or grasping, like, don't leave me forever, you know, we'll be together until death do us part, and then beyond, right? Meaning, I'm going to secure this relationship because I'm so afraid not to have it. Okay, so fear of loss, yeah?
In a sense, like, what he says, is the characteristic, like, Sabe Sankara Dukkha, which is more not like all Sankara or maybe suffering, but more like unsatisfaction. לא מספקים, כן. יש איזה משהו שהבודה מצביע עליו שבסמסרה, שזה נכון, זה מה שאתה אומר עם הדיזייר שלנו, משהו שפשוט אינרנטי בתופעות, בכל התופעות, שהוא לא מספק באמת. ומשהו, כאילו זה לא רק הרצון שלנו, אלא זה גם משהו בעולם שהוא לא מספק. כי אני חושב שכן הבודה מצביע על זה.
Yeah, oh, definitely, but it's pointing to not the outside. That's what I'm saying. Is it's not to say life is suffering is to point it out there. Okay, and the whole point of this practice is to observe suffering in your mind. Okay, in your mind. That's the Sankara Dukkha. The third level of condition is called conditioning. You know, the way life is conditioned or the conditions of life. But what kind of life? Sankara is one of the, there are these called dependent origination, 12 links of it, of how like suffering goes around and around in birth and life and death. And one of them is called Sankara, which is will, volition, desires, like our thoughts. The way we want the world and the way we want the world to be. Okay? That's one of the 3 ways dukkha is expressed. It's expressed through change, okay? It's expressed through this effects of physical being, like, and it's expressed through our desires. Okay, the thoughts that come up, our expectations. You know, the expectation is that, yeah, I'm going to get out in the morning, car's going to start. What's my reaction when it doesn't? Like, God damn. Okay, that's my reaction. And then, all right, I step back and I think, well, what am I going to do with this now? And it's not just what I'm going to do with the car. It's what am I going to do with the mind that is upset about this. So the practice is first and foremost seeing, you know, taking responsibility, right, for the states of our mind which is producing dukkha. Dukkha is not produced by the world. Okay, without any human beings, the world, there wouldn't be any, like, sankhara dukkha. I mean, where would be the problem? Things would happen, you know? And it wouldn't be whether it's good for us or not good for us. You take yourself out of the picture, there's no good for you or not good for you, right? Meaning, dukkha has ended.
Probably with animals, they probably have dukkha.
Well, yeah, terrible dukkha. You ever look at animals, observe animals. If you want to see that actually you're in a pretty good place to do something about it, animals will take many, many, many lifetimes to climb out of fear, anxiety, hunger, like just life revolving around that. Observe animals. Sorry?
The basic needs.
Yeah, their basic needs. Their basic needs, which are usually experienced by them in negative ways, right? In negative ways. Meaning, just observe animals. Like, you think it's nice. Some people fantasize. Do you ever ask you ever play a game like, what kind of animal would you like to be if you could be an animal? You ever play that? What kind of animal would you like to be? If you could be an animal, what would you like to be? And it all sounds, you know, fanciful and fun. Oh, I'll be an eagle or a bird or something or a dolphin. But what you're not considering are all the other animals that want to eat you. Right? All the animals that want to eat you. And you are having to, like, be afraid of them and look out for them all the time. You never get a moment's rest.
Well, a home dog
What's that?
you're a house dog. It's easier.
I thought so, until I got one.
Oh, yeah.
Except for in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you stay at the moment all the time, right?
In the moment all the time?
Animals stay at the moment all the time. Because
Yeah.
That's kind of staying at the moment.
Well, there's a moment.
They
There's
don't have time, you know, to think, you know, 5 years ahead or what's going to happen with my graduate studies or my PhD or, you know, my endowment funds. There's a kind of, you know, sense of being alert and vigilant in the life.
yeah. But I mean, being in the moment though is not enough. Being in the moment is not enough.
Well, it's a start for something.
Well, it's a start.
No,
Maybe,
so-
hopefully.
Also in my practice, I mean, being in the moment is, I mean, it's not enough, yeah, but it's a good start.
It's like a
It's
soldier in
Compared
war,
to the
it's
obsessed
also in
life,
the
you know,
moment.
the planning.
Yeah, it's a good start, but
Definitely not enough, I agree.
what's good with a human being is because you can, in the moment, think about the future. In the moment.
Again,
You can, in the moment, think about the future. Because human beings have that ability to look at past, present, and future mentally, like intellectually, then we can start understanding the relationship of karma, cause and effect relationship. And if we can understand cause and effect, which animals, not many can, then we can start to improve the states of our bodies and minds. So we can start taking, you know, responsibility for that cause, karma, that cause-effect relationship. Because we can't imagine, you know, wait a second, if I make certain choices now, they're going to have repercussions in the future, right? So that can be an aware choice based on what? Compassion, metta, and karuna. It can be based on kindness. Animals, I don't know if they have much compassion. You know, I don't know if their choices are based on that. It's based on survival, their choices, and they may seem to love and care for their brood, which is, you know, their offspring, but that also just may be an extension of their own survival. So
but there are very nice examples of animal compassion.
there are some,
Those not of the kind, yeah.
yeah, like dolphins.
It's very frequent, yeah, but a separate discussion.
Yeah, Yeah, it happens, and that's why they're considered pretty sentient. Like dolphins are pretty high up on the, the ladder of consciousness.
But another question before whether life itself is dukkha. I understand that the Buddha said that a certain kind of life is dukkha. The unenlightened life is dukkha, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that life, but it's
no life. It's not that life is dukkha.
Unenlightened life is dukkha, and that's what he set out to solve, to address, right?
Yeah, that's why I said I teach one thing, dukkha, and the end of
He
dukkha.
wasn't against life.
No. That, again, it's not to say that life is. It's not that life is dukkha. Okay, it's that there is dukkha. Okay, the first noble truth is that there is dukkha. It's undeniable. Okay, it's undeniable part of the way we experience the world. And then by exploring that, exactly, like what's my relationship to that reality? So it's not, the first noble truth is not that life is dukkha, but rather there is dukkha. Dukkha. Okay, now explore it, understand it. Whereas this other thing he said, such is dukkha, it can be fully known. It can be fully known. You're saying, this is dukkha, you can know it, like you can know dukkha. And if you know it, then you're no longer a victim. Often the way we experience, these three levels of dukkha, meaning all of my cravings and expectations, change, and physical, pain and physical and mental pain. Right? How do we experience that often? Well, there's immediate reaction might be denial, blame, victimhood, fatalism, why me? Why is this happening to me? Right? Or there's a fourth option, right? The fourth option is, how does this develop my awareness? Okay, how can this be instructive to me now? Okay, how can I change my conditioning? How can I use this to change my reactions? Right? That's a choice we have as humans. Maybe some animals have it, but as humans, we definitely can remind ourselves that you are given choice. That basically mindfulness, if I were to define mindfulness in a real simple way, is that you always have a better choice. Okay, you always have a better choice of where to put your mind, where to put your attention. You can always choose, another object of attention. Why? Because you can be aware of where your attention is. And if you can be aware of it, then you can know that, hey, I don't want to be thinking about this right now. It may take a lot of effort to shift that, and then shift it again. But that's like our relationship with desire, attachment. Okay? Again, it's not saying, okay, let me look at the world and see all the suffering out in the world. That's not the point here, okay? That's escape, right? That's externalizing the problem. Yeah, there's a lot of crap going on. That's externalizing it. We know that, right? The real challenge of practice is to say, where in me am I holding on? Okay? Where am I, not letting go? Right? So that I still get upset that the world is not the way I planned it. Right? In whatever the way the world is. Whether it's, a pair of shoes that have run out, or whether it's a car that won't start, or whether it's a relationship that whatever direction it went, or whether it's, my physical body, or whether it's what's happening in the country, or, where am I? It doesn't mean you shouldn't make changes. But your experience, if your experience of it is a negative one, that means, dukkha is in full force. Okay? But if you can look at it from the point of view of, this is wrong, painful, an obstacle. Is this like an obstacle for me? Or can I use this to develop other qualities, right? Other qualities. One, what kind of qualities? One, I see that dukkha is everywhere, that there's pain and difficulty everywhere, that the whole world is off balance, all right? That the wheel is unsteady. So I stop expecting that that it will finally be all right. I will see it everywhere. That everywhere you go, you know, things go wrong.
I feel like it feels to me that we use dukkha in two different ways. Because one is the metaphor of the wheel, right? Which is what Ray said, that I feel like is saying that the Buddha points out there's something in the nature of the way the world works and the phenomena, how they behave. There's something inherently, well, not flawed, but there's something inherently that is flawed to what I expect. But also we refer to dukkha, I feel sometimes, as just this inner thing we're doing, whereas the first one was more about the interaction between the outside world and this inside, the way we react to it. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's put it this way, okay? There's a lot of pain in the world. Okay, there's a lot of pain that people experience. There's pain from war. There's pain from all sorts of stuff going on. There's pain from aging and sickness and death.
That's
right.
There's pain in all that. That's, from what I understand, that's not what we call dukkha.
No.
That's just the world.
And
the dukkha is seeing that and having all the desires that, oh, why is it like this? Is that thing.
Yeah.
It's like words don't really explain it. We kind of need to look. That's the practice.
Yeah.
Kind of see that.
Look, let's put it this way. Non-attachment, okay, is not rejecting, life in the world and ourselves. Non-attachment is accepting that they don't go according to my plan. Okay? That's non-attachment. Non-attachment is that things are going to go not the way I expected them. That's non-attachment. It doesn't mean I don't get involved, but it means I get involved from that point of view. That I already know, I'm getting into it knowing that it's going to go differently. Right? That the wheel is like shaky and it's not in my control right now. So it's not really separate, okay? That because the wheel is shaky, the wheel of life is shaky, okay? If I can fully internalize that truth, then it can blunt a little bit, soften my expectations that it's going to work out according to my plans. Does that mean I don't make plans? No, it doesn't mean I don't make plans. I'm going to make plans. And I know that a lot of the plans are going to have to change because they will change, because the conditions around them will change, right? So, the law of change helps me, okay? And also the fact that physical reality is tough. It's tough being alive with a body that's soft, We don't have an exoskeleton. So, we get hurt. Knowing that means, and that is unpreventable. All the physical stuff that you experience, that's just, that everybody experiences. Having a body, right? Welcome. And then all of my thoughts about, who I am and the way things should go and what I want. All my thoughts about what I want, which is based on my ideas of who I am. I mean, when we get to the bottom of the mess, it's all about me, okay? And the problem is my sense of self, okay, and my relationship to myself. But that blossoms, and that expresses itself through my desires of how the world should be. Okay, if I really want to get to the root of it, it's about dealing with my attachment to my ideas of me, which then become projected into how I think the world should be. Okay, but that's not for now. Right now, I just want to fully understand that change in body and wants, okay, create a relationship to this wheel, okay, this world that is a struggle, it's often a struggle because of that, right? Now we can still deal with the same issues and problems that come up, but we can take away a bit of the struggle. Okay, dukkha, dealing with dukkha, the end of dukkha does not mean suddenly everybody is okay and there's no pain or sickness in the world, right? No. It means my struggle that there shouldn't be, I'm letting go of. Okay, I'm lessening that resistance I have to the facts of life, that it's unsteady, okay, and it's going to be unsteady as long as we're here. Can we just accept that? And then dealing with it will be a little easier. Dukkha's not out there. Just remember that. If you can remember one thing, know that dukkha is all in your mind. That doesn't mean it's not real. It just means it's the nature of your relationship with the outside world and yourself. Okay? So when you feel dukkha being expressed in a lot of negativity, it's not because things are going wrong. Okay? Take responsibility for your own attachments. Look where you're holding on. Release your hold.
Just reflecting on it, I think that life, if everything would have been exactly the way I wanted or wished to be, then that would have been an infinite dukkha. It's also kind of dukkha. But to imagine that would be much happier if I'm going to get everything as we wanted, as we planned. I think such a life it's going to be almost the absolute dukkha.
Definitely.
It's kind of a lifeless life. And we also don't realize how many things that we want. Thousands, millions, zillions of things that we want. We get because we are here and we are alive and we can sit and we can walk. We tend to forget it. We tend to think about the few little things we don't get. They don't work away.
Yeah.
Until something happens, then we start to appreciate the past.
Yeah. Yeah. And our wants, why it would also be hell, is because all of our wants, if I were to give you everything you want, or you write a list, tell me the 100 things you want. Write a list, and I'll give them to you. Right? I'm like, whatever. And so many of those items on the list are coming from such a narrow and selfish point of view of who we are. So if I were to give you like the money and the job and the whatever, you'd be like, you'd still be unhappy. Because how many of us ask, what I really want is to be enlightened, to be loving and wise all the time.
Rich and enlightened, yeah.
Huh?
Very rich, very beautiful.
Rich, I want to be rich, beautiful, young, healthy,
and enlightened.
And enlightened. Yes. I mean, come on. You know, for some reason we think, oh yeah, and oh yeah, I forgot, and enlightened. Yeah. It's like after all of this, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
The most enlightened person.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, but I've dealt with all the, you know, the real things, right? I mean, come on. You know, and the Buddha is saying you actually just need one thing. You need one thing. You want to be happy, you need one thing. He says, you know, basically the Buddha is teaching us that your list of 100 million things will be fulfilled if you just have one thing. Okay, if you have one thing. Right? So stop looking for so many things, and if we just really go for that one thing of the awakened mind, you know, the mind that has awakened to, yes, everything we do have and everything that we are, which is Buddha, which is already awakened, but also just on a much more, you could say, mundane, profane level, right? Why is, not only is health dukkha, okay, but sickness is enlightenment. You know? Do you guys get that? Mm-hmm. You should. I mean, because Not just because it's undeniable, it's going to happen, and if your mind is awakened, then it'll be awakened when you're sick. Like that, Baso Koan, I tell you guys, he was dying, the master, and they asked him, how are you? And he said, sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha, meaning when he was healthy, strong sun, he was Buddha mind, and when he was unhealthy, moon, about to go out, Buddha mind. No, that's not what I mean. I just mean, and that's like the second way of thinking about that sickness is enlightenment, because you're enlightened all the time, so every experience you have. No, I just mean, how do we cultivate that sense of letting go of our constant wants and opening to the gifts we have, and sickness and loss, okay, are a gift to, or our teachers. They are teachers to remind us of that, right? I mean, most of us when we are sick, sorry?
The pure dukkha. You can see it.
Pure dukkha, but it's pure dukkha, it's the physical dukkha, yeah. And you also see how your mind, you're very clear, like seeing how your mind is. And also if you're sick in bed, it gives you some retreat time, so you get to see just your mind. But I actually mean it in such a simple way that most of us have. When you finally get better, after a couple days, and you're like, it is so great to get out of bed and have the energy to go outside. Like, this is enough, that I actually can enjoy my food, even if it's just like a piece of toast. This is enough, this is great. It is so great. I can walk. Did you experience?
But you forget it very quickly.
That's the dukkha of mental consciousness. It's not so much that you say, I always want, but you forget what you actually have, And then you suddenly start, why do you forget it? Because it's covered up with other wants. Like, yeah, I'm healthy and I walk, but I really want to go there. How can I get there? God, what's wrong with us? All right? So awakening means that we are asleep most of the time to who and what we really are and what we have. Okay? So to wake up, if you want to, escape dukkha, if you want an end to dukkha, as the Buddha said, I teach one thing, dukkha, and the end of dukkha, it is simply waking up fully to now. All right? It's not anything else. So wish for one thing, and then go for it.
You said
Very true.
illness is dukkha is a good teacher. I was speaking of not of illness, but of loss, because it's very. You will suffer much more thinking you will not feel loss from people you care about. And actually, when you do experience loss, being fully experiencing the loss is much more healthier than not to.
Yeah.
And it's a way, there is, I think, at least from my own experience, something with loss, there's some natural awakeness that happens there. Because you definitely see what you had. And it does open the heart and all that. So it's a terrible teacher, but it's a good teacher.
No, actually, I mean, the Buddha has these recollections, like, I am the nature of change, I am the nature of aging, and everything I possess and own and everything dear to me will, be lost, and I'll be separated from everything that's dear to me. If it's not because they die first, it's because I die, okay? Someone's going to die first, right? So it's either them or me, and either way I'm going to be separated from what I love. So recollecting those recollections mean I'm like remembering them again as a type of trying to work on my own attachments. It's all about working on your mind, okay? You're not doing it to feel depressed, I better hold on to this person. You're doing it so that you can let go of your attachment now. And remember, attachment doesn't mean you don't get involved. Attachment means that you don't deny it's going to change and go away, right? Which makes the involvement now more valuable. Like, the ultimate recollection is that I'm going to lose my own life, okay? But that kind of seems so abstract to us. right? I'm gonna die. Okay, I'm gonna die. Now, you know, I don't like saying it so much because, again, we tend to just brush it off, right? We brush it off. So let's just try to remember more closely being sick, okay? And when flu or winter comes around and you get sick, it's not in your way. It is your way, okay? So try to remember that the next time you start to feel a bit under the weather, we say, and it starts to get worse, and then you start to think, next week I was going to go away and I can't. Damn. You know, what am I going to do? Right? I have to go to work. I mean, I can't miss work now or miss these classes or school. I have so much on my plate. How I can't get sick now. This is the worst time. It's always the worst time. Right? It's always the worst time. For who? You. Okay, nobody else. Worst time for you. How can we turn that into simply the time we have? It's just the time we have. That's non-attachment. Okay? Non-attachment is another word for non-denial. Right? Non-denial of the way things are. So let's remember, let's recollect and practice hard, aspiring for the one thing that will, truly awaken us and end suffering and dukkha, transform our relationship with the world. Wheel's not going to get steady, but you can ride a different one. So, be well.